going sort of along with a point we've been circling around a bit is the focus. I think the shift in center focus from Jenny to Rose, as I feel as became the main protagonist, is a little jarring. Since Jenny is the person we're first introduced to, though, and she's clearly positioned as the main protagonist, but Rose is then sort of kind of bullies her way into being the protagonist somehow. I guess because Blighty started to really like Rose as the story went on. I mean, giving us looks into her mind and perspective inherently helps us sympathize with her, which I'm not 100% sold on, as I talked about earlier. I kind of see it as like metagaming in D&D, except rather than two players swapping info their characters wouldn't know, I'm in control of both characters and trying to read the story from both perspectives without letting either impact or influence how I feel while on the other.
I mean, I'm not against it. I'm not against the two point of views, um, but I definitely like. I think that for this story and to keep the suspense, I would have liked it more. I think one point of view was good enough. I do think that. Just keep the
Yeah,
mystery on the eyes of Jenny. I
at
think
least
that
for a
would.
while.
Yeah, I think that would work more. I do think the two point of views can work for this kind of story too.
Hmm.
But you have like a double edging. You you have a lot of twists coming in Jenny's way, and I think
Yeah,
that just Jenny's eyes was good enough.
yeah.
I I think that in some suspense you can use two point of views. Have you ever watched The Dispatched from Scorsese, the DiCaprio and Matt Damon movie, Jack Nicholson too,
Oh, The Departed.
and the part sorry, Dispatched, sorry,
Yeah, I did see
yeah,
it, and I think it went on too long.
yeah. So I think it is a good example. Like
Yeah,
you can have suspense where you have the two point of views, right?
yeah. Dual
And
narratives,
yeah, two narratives exactly. I don't think it's a problem,
dual. Yeah,
but
like
yeah,
parallel,
it has to
parallel
be
narratives.
it has to be built in a certain way. I
Yeah,
think that for this story, one would be better, would make more sense. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I honestly I don't see a problem with Rose becoming a sympathetic character later on. But I wish we had had more time to get familiar with who Jenny is on her own instead of compared to Rose.
Hmm.
It does sort of feel like there's a forced parallel narrative going on instead of it.
Yes.
I think it would have been a little more comfortable with just the one.
Yes. I wanted to be in Jen's skin a little more too.
Yeah,
Like
just with her for a bit more.
understand more more about her way of thinking,
Mm,
about her own plans. I kind of feel like Jane does not really do a lot of planning herself. She's just, kind of following things along.
yeah,
And
100%.
no, more to the end, she kind of goes against, against what people are proposed to her, something like that. But yeah, she does not really try to. She just receives the quests. She does not try to explore out of it.
Mm,
It's kind of like that. She just follows the script of the quest that she receives, and she does not try to look, for different
mm,
paths. She does not try to make her own way. That would be a cool thing to do, I think.
yeah. This is going to be the longest podcast I've ever done. I'm only getting to the bottom of page 3 of 8. of my notes, and we're close to 2 hours in. Oh my god. Oh shit.
I mean, I
I
think that you.
that's the thing, I can't tell if this is a good or bad story just because of the amount of discussion we've been able to have about it is wild.
I mean, it's a really nice story to discuss. I think too. Like in no matter if you think it's good or bad, I think it's good. But
I enjoy
it's
reading it.
yes, exactly. Me too. And part of why I enjoy it is because I think it's unique, and that's a big credit that I always give.
Mhm.
I like unique stories.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
absolutely.
I
They stand
I,
out.
I think it show it shows personality. It shows creativity,
Mm,
and
mm,
it makes us be here talking about this story could be improved
yes.
here, here, here.
Yeah.
And some stories you can really do that.
Mhm. Yeah. Now, I guess bringing it down from a nice poetic little divergence. Effie using parchment instead of the latest technology for writing, like a laptop or computer, is a cool little character detail, though I dislike that Blighty immediately focuses on it rather than letting it be a throwaway detail. It's I noticed I started picking up more and more on times where he would just kind of anytime that he came up with some kind of I guess intelligent detail or indirect detail that's really well done that could mean a lot. He it kind of felt like he struggled to not signpost it and be like, "Hey, look at this thing. Just don't miss it. It's right here. It's a very cool detail." He's I noticed it more and more as the story went on. Not too much of it, but there are definitely times where those details could the volume on those details could have been turned down a bit. They were too loud for my taste. When I really think about it, completely different track now. This is the only story that comes to my mind of any in the community where the heights of characters are so prominently displayed. Like there's a real note made on a couple of characters' heights. It seems like to me at least Blighty really has a thing for Amazons. Rose is described as at least 6 feet tall, and Effie is 6.5 feet tall. Like these are some enormous women. They are hulking.
It's 6 and 5 feet, Effie.
Yeah, 6 feet 6 inches. Effie is supposedly 6 feet 6 inches tall.
Oh wow, I
She's
didn't
fucking
remember.
enormous.
Bro, she's like the Hulk. She's like the
Yeah,
Hulk. I remember that Rosa was tall. I
yeah.
agree.
She's described as at least 6 feet tall. So there's a
Yes.
good chance she's the same height as Effie.
Oh yeah, at least. Yeah.
Uh huh.
Oh shit. Yeah, bro.
But
Yeah,
Jenny, we
no,
don't know how
but
tall Jenny is, or
yeah,
Abby.
no. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a flaw. I think
Hmm.
he should have described Jane and Abby.
Yeah, be consistent with
And
the
I mean, I
details.
don't get this. I don't get the sense that they are small.
Yeah.
Like they're not that tall. But yeah, he
But
should
you know
have
what?
described.
When I really think about it, and this is, I think, really me just making shit up for the writer, defending the story on behalf of the writer. I think this could actually be looked at, the two heights, as very good indirect detail, depending on how you look at it. Like this story clearly became more the Rose story as opposed to the Jenny story as it went on. And Rose is we know she's an
No, she's an
important
important
figure,
figure,
but
but
oh, I'm getting an echo from me now. That was weird. I got that. I was hearing myself for a second on your end. Um, we know she's an important figure because she's 6 feet tall, but we don't know how important she is, which is why we don't know the inches. And Effie is a very defined and probably more important, but we don't know for sure. but I think that's definitely just me reading too much into it. Uh, the ending to chapter 8 is very nice and punchy as hell. The sentences are very short, but I think it works very well. Every Saturday at 7:15 p.m. Today was Friday. It's not groundbreaking writing by any means, but like the alliteration that I talked about before, it's another aspect that helps me get some enjoyment out of it.
Mhm.
It's
Yes,
just
no,
very strong writing in that moment.
yeah, it does have that. It does have like some lines that are really cool. Yeah, some like
Yeah.
really smart lines.
Mhm.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Like I
Like the
didn't
end of it
wrote down,
definitely.
but I do remember that. It was really cool. It was really cool.
Yeah. For sure. Now, in chapter 9, we find out that Effie apparently gave Rose the job of finding Jenny's dad and that she failed. So clearly, he's in some very shady shit, as we've brought up a couple times. We don't know how good of a tracker Rose is, but since Effie trusted that mission to her, the implication is that she has at least some skill. It's what we have to assume because no other real explanation exists that I can think of. So, since Rose failed, Jenny's dad must be pretty good at hiding. But the thing I'm forced to keep coming back to is that this plot thread never goes anywhere. And I don't think I can emphasize that enough. It's so integral to the
Yeah,
mystery of the
I
plot
mean,
overall, yet it has absolutely no relevance in the end. And Jenny doesn't even consider it a priority to any degree to figure out that mystery.
yes, I mean, yeah, I really can understand. Like, why is why is her father important? Like for Effie, you know,
Hmm.
like why the like they like I said in the beginning was described that they were bullying her because of her money, because her father was a son of a bitch, things like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, then it says that Effie she does all those bad things, you know. So her father is like her rival or something like that because that's never established, you know. I
Yeah.
don't get why they don't like her father, you know.
I,
I don't I don't
y-
get why he's mentioned. I think that Janie is just a girl who end up being in like a bad scheme, you know.
yeah.
Uh, but her father, if she has money or not, I mean, they don't try to scan her money. They don't try to do anything with her money. Why is that
Yeah.
important? I don't
That's
get it.
uh, if the premise of the story was instead three women team up to kidnap this ultra wealthy guy, this criminal guy's daughter, and ransom her for money or get her to help them steal the money, that then the rest of the story makes sense with the dad plot point. But
Yes, yes, that part
the
makes sense.
way it is,
I,
it's just like not enough things line up for the dad plot thread to make any sense because
and
of it having no payoff.
like to add to that too. I mean, that's even like I think not like common, but I probably have seen that plot in the past, and that's something that I know that happens. Like in
Mhm.
Brazil, it's kind of common. But like, if you have money and you get into like a more poor people, um, you know, school or just environment, you have to work there because you don't have money anymore. But you're from a higher hierarchy, you know, like you had to reach that, something like that. You are, I don't know, blonde, you know, have blue eyes, something like that. You know, if you look preppy and you wear preppy, right?
Mm,
Uh, that will be held against you, you know.
yeah.
Like people you use that to bully you to like, oh, like you're not like us, you know, you're not like us, you're not like us, we don't really like you, things like that, they happen. And so yeah, rich people like going down and having to live like that, it happens, and sometimes they suffer prejudice like that.
Mm,
And yeah, it would make sense in a Reggie story. And in this case, it would make sense. And then, I mean, if she like those girls are, like you say, try and they kidnap her and they want to get her money. They are like envy of her money, or they just, I don't know, she's like a rich girl in a boarding school, and none of those girls have money. They maybe they are no need to be poor, but they just are envy of her condition, and they can scam her. They can be mean to her. All those things make sense, right? And then her father, her money, that all makes sense. That's being used, but they just are not used, right?
Yep.
And they are mentioned like the whole her dad thing, like they try to search for her dad and all, and in the end, nothing appears. Nothing appears. So yeah, it's strange.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I'm gonna keep bringing it up every single time it keeps coming back because I feel blue balled on that fucking plot point. It was one of the most interesting things about the story, and you fucked us over, Blighty. Come on. Oh, it's the biggest tragedy of the story is the dad plot point going nowhere because it was so integral to the mystery. But nope, nope, not gonna ever find out anything about it. Now, chapter 9 also tells us that Rose is, quote, a kind of warden for Effie's special school, which is the closest we ever find to Rose's real position or authority there. This is also a direct confirmation, as if the previous one was enough, that Effie is the one in control of the school. It belongs to her. It's Effie's special school. It couldn't be any clearer that this school belongs to Effie. Everything in the story points to Effie being the one in charge, not Abby. So unless Rose is lying to the audience, the ending twist makes no sense. It's funny that at least to me, that in chapter 3, Jenny thinks not expecting a British person is a very American attitude, yet she's written clearly from a British person's point of view with thinking words like trousers instead of pants.
Oh yeah,
We
yeah.
definitely we mentioned that earlier. But regardless of the strangeness or whatever of having the story shift from pure Jenny to Rose and Jenny, chapter 10 is legitimately well written. It might be my favorite. There's some pretty nice development for these two characters here. The problem is that it also continues to elevate the father plot point into the main focus, again, with absolutely no payoff coming in the future. Rose tells Jenny she had just graduated college, or university as she would call it, when she found Effie's job listing for the school. That would make Rose 23 years old by the time Excommunicado happens, assuming she went to college right out of high school, since she says she's been at the school for a year, at Effie's school. Aside from that, unless Rose went to a police academy immediately after high school, there is no way she'd even have the time to become a cop. That would have to be the case for Rose to be on a solo mission in a different country, as I imagine police departments, no matter what country you're from, wouldn't send fresh faced recruits on overseas jobs like that. She
Yeah.
does reveal that she's actually 25, so that could have given her enough time to finish police academy, but either Blighty didn't do the math properly or the cop twist doesn't make any sense, like I've been saying, and
I
I'll
mean,
let I'll let the reader decide which is correct or both.
myself, I can kind of understand. I think that I understand that it's a mistake, like from time. But I don't know. I don't see this role as being so realistic. Like,
Yeah,
so
it's not.
maybe, yeah. So
Well,
maybe,
that's the thing. Maybe it is. Maybe it is because there's only a couple people, and it is entirely possible for those kind of people to exist. Maybe it's possible.
yeah. But yeah, I think that, like, she found a way of graduating first. Maybe someone in her like her copy, her police academy said, "Oh, we need someone who are the perfect person to do it." in the overseas, some silly thing like that. I think it makes sense. I think it's okay.
Yeah, I'll get into why I don't think it works all that well a little bit later. I do have very specific reasons why I don't think it works, but in the interest of moving along at the same pace of the story, in line with the story events, the bit in chapter 11 where Jenny thinks, quote, so many things didn't make sense, tells me that Blighty knew exactly what he was doing by withholding basically every bit of information we, the audience, want to know. And the stacking of mystery on mystery really started to give me a Metal Gear feeling of falling down a never-ending rabbit hole. A TV show that does this incredibly well is Tower Prep, and anybody who hasn't seen that show should watch it. It's awesome. Only 13 episodes, single season. Kind of goes the same way as Excommunicado in that it ends in a very unsatisfying way, but the story up to that point is very very cool to see. Very well told. Chapter 12, it was great to finally be getting some kind of tour through the school, though I think moving this to before Rose's backstory, so we get some familiarity with the setting and world the story takes place first, before getting to know Rose as a character, would have been much more effective. As it stands, we're essentially standing in a void with Jenny, Rose, and Effie in random rooms, occasionally Abby, where we have no idea how they connect or where they are in relation to each other. And basically, there's no real sense of space or the surroundings given to the reader until
Yeah, yeah, yes,
story.
yes.
And even then, the tour isn't exactly what you call comprehensive. Rose basically just leads Jenny through barely described hallways to what I imagine to be a Hogwarts style Great Hall. I
This
think we
is
did
the
quite a
chapter
good job.
where there are girls like
Yep.
hanging wedges, right?
Hmm.
Bro,
We
I
finally get
agree.
some level of threat.
I found that so strange, man. Tipo, yeah. So, yes. I mean, some of the things that I have reading now, I think that they are a little bit explaining then because it's explaining that Effie has the blackmail uh, material about each girl there, right?
Hmm.
But I mean, for me, I mean, we were just talking about having NPCs, non-enemy characters here and there, right?
Yeah.
But I think in Spark, it's like so soulless, like every
Yeah.
NPC looks like they have no soul. They are just in the background, hanging wedges, and it looks like the most like unfun. Uh, how do I say this? It's not fun at all. At all. There are no people, apparently putting them in hanging wedges, checking
Mm.
them. That's not, they are just there, and then they will get down, and some other girls will get up there. Like,
All the
so
interesting stuff will happen off screen. Don't worry, it will happen, but it'll happen off screen.
yes, yes. So, all right. So in
Yeah,
this school,
100%.
that's something that happens. You pass down house and have some girls in hanging wedges. But
Yeah.
apparently, uh, we don't like which girls put them in UX. Like you have
Mm.
like a hierarchy system where you have the girls that wedge some
Supposedly.
girls, or uh, it's just like the Western. It's like the girls that can put girls in US do it and whatever. It's not explained. So the girls are just there, and I feel like eventually other girls will be there, and it's whatever. I don't
Yeah.
get excited by it,
Yeah.
and 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 yeah, there are no girls like apparently supervising the girls that are in those hanging wedges.
I mean, where are they
Some
supposed
girls
to
are like,
go?
yeah, like some girls are sleeping in the hanging images, so it looks like the
Yeah.
most whatever thing. And
It's
something
not
that
that
I also
bad.
think,
Yeah.
and something that I think is also important, it's like I said, Effie apparently does not really have a gang. She does not have minions. She
Yep.
has blackmail to some girls, but
Yep.
apparently no girls really like her. No
Yeah.
girls really want to work for her.
Yeah.
And that's like, that goes against every, you know, uh, beach boss, right? Like
Yeah.
the girl posse thing, like the queen of the school. Like she's usually a bitch. It's not that people love her, but people want to be around her because of power, because of things like that. And she entertains it. She keeps them close. She has a lot of friends. Maybe it's fake friends, but she has them. She has the power. It's like the president. The president is surrounded by enemies, also
Yeah.
surrounded by friends. Some of those enemies are pretending to be friends. You see, because he has the power. So, but it's all about controlling people. It's all about having people that are working for you. And
Hmm.
in this case, she has blackmail. But everyone's against her. How
Well, it's
how
it is kind of
she managed it?
it's kind of funny that she has blackmail, but what I got out of it was the only reason that they're not none of them are speaking up against Effie is because they have a employment contract. So
I mean,
they're just gonna take it that any polices are just gonna take that as a uh part of their job duties that they agreed to do.
yes, I mean, dude, they can like join each other and go against her. That's the feeling that I always had. Because yeah, she does not have people that are willing to sacrifice for her. Like you just have like Abby, for example. Like you have the Abby example. Um, Abby just seems like all right, she has blackmail to me, so just she does not have to really have a motive. She's just
Yeah.
okay. I screw it, and I'll go along with it. I'll do what I can to survive. So everyone's like that because if they join, she has no allies. No one is like on her good side apparently.
Mhm.
And that's not explained to. It's never shown that she has allies, that she has people working for her, right?
Yeah.
So I don't see her as powerful. That's the thing.
Oh, shit. Oh, wow, that's crazy.
Really,
Uh,
you see her like she gives you the impression.
I mean, she kinda she gives me the feeling of an intense sociopath. So, in
Yes,
that way,
that
she
too.
kind of inherently has power because she doesn't give a fuck what anybody else thinks. She's going to do whatever she wants to achieve her ends. I think in that way, she kind of does give herself power.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that how can I say? I think that individually, she's like strong.
Yeah.
She is a tough opponent.
Yeah.
But like I say, I don't think that she's powerful. I
I
I don't think that she. I feel like it was not hard to destroy her.
no, not
Like
at all.
and
Few
that's the
punches.
thing. Like when you have like, let's go back to Darth Vader or like to Homelander from the boys who just ended. Like their threat, it's because they can be stopped, right?
Mm,
And the protagonist, they can stop him. Like Luke, he needs to train, he needs to do the Holy Rebellion, things like that, to to be able to stop that Vader. And the boss, the same thing somehow. Uh, in Neff's case, I don't think that's never needed. I don't think you need to make a rebellion in the school or something like that.
Mhm.
Because I don't even understand why they like why they didn't like just go against her, you know? Like
Blackmail her. Yeah.
she has blackmail from porn.
Yep.
I mean,
But
there are
that's
a few
like,
there,
if
there
you
are a
think
few
about it for just a
cases.
second, Effie is also doing those things, so it's kind of a double-edged sword. If she uses it, she fucks herself over too.
Yes, so here in Brazil, it had a big, like a big case. Like you went over to national TV and things like that. Some these some fuckers they were like getting blackmail material from girls, and they made like Discord calls with them, and they say, "Oh, you will do all those things for us, or we will release the blackmail material," you know. And those people were, easy to manipulate, things like that. So yes,
Yeah.
it was a mess. It was like a bunch of sociopaths, like the worst people ever. And all right, it's very so like so. Can you imagine how that case ended? The girls went to the police.
Yeah.
They said, "Look, here are the profiles that have blackmail material from me. They made
Yeah.
me do all those things." What the police did? They searched for them. They had the blackmail. Boom!
Mhm.
They are locked.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, that's blackmail only has power as long as the person it's being used against is afraid of it.
yes, exactly. And I mean, I like, for example, what can go so wrong for them to be so afraid of the blackmail?
It's just
Because
porn.
everyone in the school is in the same position.
Yeah.
They families.
It's one
Like,
person.
no, so wait.
Just overpower
I-
her.
If like let's say I have blackmail material from you, like in the sense of a pornographic video from you, like where I'm doing something wrong to you.
I bet you'd love
If I
that.
send that video to your family, they won't hate you. They will say,
No.
"Dude, what the fuck is going on with my son? Let me talk to the police." You know.
Uh-huh.
So it's not really blackmail. You know. If I send a video to your family, they won't stop talking to you. They will just be upset, right?
I mean,
So
maybe
yeah,
it could
that's
have.
what I'm saying. I feel
Yeah,
like she's not powerful because of that. I feel like she has no element that really can hold those people, and she
yeah.
has no allies. You see?
It's such a weak form of blackmail. If she was holding their like a family member for each of them hostage or something like that, where there's actual stakes and they could legitimately lose something huge beyond their dignity, because that's all that's at stake is their dignity. Oh no, what a fucking tragedy. Move to a different town if you're that worried about losing it, but yeah, I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah, no, but that's the case. They don't even need to because like where she's going to make that blackmail video, like she's going to put it on the internet. YouTube's going to take
Yeah.
it down. You can post that
Oh,
on YouTube,
absolutely. And if
you
she
know.
puts it on any porn site, it's just gonna be buried by the billions of other porn clips on there.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Maybe she just maybe Effie hired a bunch of Oompa Loompas, so we just never even see them.
Maybe,
uh,
bro. Maybe.
but anyway, I think it's very funny that Abby says when she finally comes back into the story, Abby says she didn't think she'd be seeing Jenny again so soon when a sizable enough amount of the story has passed. 12 chapters, 11 chapters, 2 to 12 have passed, and she hasn't shown up. And it was just under a month between when Blighty posted the first chapter and chapter 12. I remember reading it back then and almost completely forgetting Abby was in the story by the time it came back around to her. Because she
No,
was
but
so completely irrelevant to
I
all
think
of the
that in
actual action.
I think that in universe it was just a little bit of time, no?
Right, but still,
Because that's the
there's a lot
thing
of
with the
actions that
chapters.
happen in between.
Yeah, because that's the thing with the chapters. They are so short, So like
Yeah,
11 chapters are not really like a lot of days.
yeah,
I
but
don't remember how many days passed, but like in my mind, I think it was like one or two. Maybe I'm wrong.
Only a couple days passed in the whole story,
Yeah, yeah.
which is pretty funny. It's pretty wild. Yep, it was just getting started and it ended. Like a manga cut off before it was allowed to really flourish. Like MX0. I'm gonna do an episode on that manga at some point because damn, it's such a good manga that ended prematurely. I think because Abby's only in the very first chapter, and then two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8, 9, 10, 11, 10 whole chapters happen where she's not part. She don't even. She's mentioned a couple times, but she just has absolutely no relevance to the plot for 10 whole chapters. I know they're short, but still, I think it's completely also nonsensical for Jenny to say that Abby, of all people, has no idea what she went through that day at the start of chapter 13, when Abby is supposed to be in the exact same situation as her. And unless Jenny is completely dense, she should be able to put two and two together and realize Abby is also in this situation with her. If Abby is her roommate, that means she's also a quote unquote student in this school, whatever that means, which means she's subject to the exact same procedures and policies as Jenny. And she does continue this streak of idiocy by asking an extremely stupid question about if Abby is a fan of Avril Lavigne. Why else would Abby have a bunch of posters on her wall of Avril Lavigne if she's not a fan? You fucking idiot! Come on, use your brain for a second.
But I mean, that's the kind of dialogue that I can understand. Like people ask this kind of questions. Like
Yeah,
just to start a
break the ice, I guess. But
just to
yeah,
break the ice. Yeah.
I guess.
For example, like you just say that you just quote a manga. I forgot the name. Yeah, you just
Huh?
quote a manga. That doesn't mean that doesn't matter the name. Maybe I will like respond to you mention the manga by saying, "Oh, have you read that one?" And I know you read that one, but just like a way of saying, like just to break the ice, like just to reinforce that. Oh, you read that one.
Well,
It's really good.
I don't. Yeah, I can see that, but maybe if it was more, you're how so you're a fan of Avril, right? Instead of, are you a fan of Avril Lavigne?
Yeah, I mean, if the person is actually curious, that would be a bit strange. But I mean, for example, I do think it's okay because, for example, maybe the person has a poster, but she just thinks she's hot or something like that. It
Mm,
can go in all other ways too, right?
yeah.
So I think it's okay. I think it's normal. I
Well,
probably
I mean,
have done that
if
too.
she thinks she's hot, then she'd be a fan of her.
I mean, not really, not really. Like I think
But
some actors are hot, but I'm not a fan of it.
I don't know. If I think it's a very dumb question.
I think it's normal. I don't. I mean, I think it's the sort of question that happens in natural conversation.
I
I
suppose.
I
I
I, I mean
suppose.
I absolutely. For example, like I see someone with a soccer shirt, like from a team, and I ask, "Oh, do you cheer like for that team?" I know he cheers for that team. But maybe not. Maybe he just brought the shirt because he likes. That happens. That happens sometimes. So, like, the logic is that yes, he cheats for the thing at least. But yeah, just to break the ice, just like to start the conversation to be sure. But I probably wrote something like that, like in the past. I think it's
Yeah.
okay. I think it's okay. I think it's
Fair
normal.
enough. Fair enough. Another nail in the coffin for the Abby twist is that she actually sleeps in the same room as Jenny that whole night. As I said, why even be her roommate if Abby is the true mastermind? Are the beds that comfortable to sleep in? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Like, why she's part of the system, if she's the
Yeah,
mastermind.
yeah,
I
doesn't make
really
any
didn't
sense.
understand that part.
Uh-huh, because it doesn't make any sense. Though chapter 15 is a great example of what Rose could have been like before we're brought into her brain and given a backstory. If we were introduced to her in chapter 2, and then no, chapter 3, yeah, where we come face to face with her in chapter 3. And then chapter 4, her backstory happens. We start to learn about her and be able to sympathize with her. If more of her in chapter 15 had been put here at chapter between chapter 3 and 4, that would have been awesome. Uh, I really would have liked to see her sticking to the rules and being a company woman a lot more before we're given doubts about how Rose really feels. She could have been so much more successful as a character had Blighty made her more of a mystery for a while. Instead, it's like he's trying to have the mystery while already having revealed the mystery. So what's the point? The way her character is written, she needs to stop being so damn cryptic. Either she's withholding info because she's loyal to Effie and the school, or she's just playing the part but being the inside person for Jenny, and she can't be both. But that's what it feels like Blighty is trying to do with her by having her, I guess, actually buddy up to Jenny, but then
Yeah,
still withhold all the information that would actually help her and us understand what's going on.
yes, that's what I think that's part of what I was trying to say when I was criticizing this double agent thing from Rose,
Yeah.
because yeah, I feel like, for example, she says, how hard it's going to be how hard it is to build a case, and I don't want you to ruin it, Jenny.
Mhm.
But I don't get how Jenny is going to ruin. She's not. She has no reason at all to tell that to Effie or to do. What's she going to do to ruin the case?
I mean,
Uh,
uh,
and yes, like he goes with that too. Rosie, she's always playing those games, but it is said she's working on taking Effie down. So why she's so resilient with Jenny? She has no reason to not trust Jenny, especially because apparently she did a whole she checked a lot of things about Jenny and everything. So yeah, it's for me. It's really. I really did not get why Rose was making her life so harder. Like uh, just if she didn't want Jenny to be any involved, like just let me do my thing, so you don't screw up my case. She should have that. She should have done that. She should not have done all those things about meeting her in a cabinet and things like that.
yeah.
And I think that would be understandable because that's something that happens with federal agents. They say, "Don't get involved with me because you will make things harder for me."
Mm.
But
I mean,
she accepts Jenny in the whole thing, and
yeah.
yeah, she keeps lying and keeps making her own life harder and Jenny's life too.
Yeah.
I don't get.
Yeah, it's doesn't he should have committed to putting her one way or the other rather than leaving us perpetually pussyfooting around what's actually happening.
Oh, one example too, like a lot of double agents, they sometimes are working for themselves.
Mm, yeah,
They want to be the ones to come out on top, you know. So that would be interesting. But apparently that's not the case.
yeah,
Her own name is Effie. So
yeah,
yeah, I don't get.
yeah. But anyway, by chapter 17, You can really see such a huge difference from chapter 1. Things are spaced out so much nicer, and everything is generally just more readable and digestible. I really like the twist at the beginning of the chapter. It's subverting expectations of the previous one, where we're led to believe Rose is going to give Abby and Jenny wedgies, and instead they get to pull her panties for some reason. Don't know why, but I think it's a very good subversion of expectations. I guess because Rose supposedly likes wedgies, but hard to tell what's truth and what's not at this point, honestly. By this point in the story, what is actually I don't know what's true, so I kind of assume nothing is because
Yeah, yeah.
I can't assume the opposite that everything is.
I think that something that I have thought that before I forgot to say. I think that if these two point of view things, um, if that was going to be a thing, I think that we should have like just tell us everything about Rose then. Just like bring her in as all of the characters, you know? Like just make us know that she's a cop, that she's everything,
Mm,
and plan out the story, you know? And then play with those two characters, like make them battle each other. I think that would be less confusing than just making Rose fight Jenny, and things happen. Rose lose. Now Rose has to reveal something, and bang, 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 bang. You know, like just give us the motivation of Rose, the motivation of Jenny, and let's see how things go. Right? I think that would be a good thing to do. Yeah, because I think that there is time invested in making us know who Rose is. I do think, but I think that she never feels like one of the protagonists. You know, no, she feels like, but not on the same level as Jenny. But it seems like it's giving steps, like not giving steps. Sorry. It seems like you can see that he tries to do it. Yeah, but I don't know. I think he does not really conclude. I think you say that you feel like Rose kind of becomes the protagonist. You say that.
yeah, she absolutely is.
Yeah,
Because she's
I know.
focused on heavily for some reason.
Yeah, no. As I thinking back, I think I kind of, but I don't know. I think that we don't dwell in her point of view as hard as Jenny. You know,
Yeah.
that's what I think. But I think that the story kind of focuses on her a lot, like
Mm,
on her path. You know, the things she does and things like that. And yeah, I agree with you. I think that she kind of takes the spot as a protagonist. But yeah, I in this matter, I am the story confusing about Rose, like the who she is truly, you know, in regards to her personality, to her backstory, truly, uh, to seeing things from her perspective. I didn't get that feeling too much. I did get that feeling from Jenny, you know, um, and yeah, I think we did not have too much to see in Jenny's eyes
yeah.
compared to Rose, of course.
Yeah. Uh, I I think the thing that really uh, I guess the perhaps the nail in the coffin of this of Rose becoming the true protagonist of Excommunicado is that I really think Blighty really started to enjoy Rose and Rose became his favorite character.
Yeah, possibly.
Just looking
Possibly.
at how much prominence she ends up taking up in the story, and then what is his what is the next story he writes after Excommunicado? Rose, an Excommunicado story, which is a prequel to Excommunicado that focuses entirely on Rose. Yeah, but along with the serious improvement in writing from throughout the story. I also really like that Rose feels no need to run after Abby. It's a great bit of indirect detail. Her coolness and relaxed nature shows strong confidence in the school, whatever their defenses are, to keep Abby and the rest of the students trapped. Because she knows she's going to have to do anything. Abby's not going to get anywhere. Though we never find out if there are any other disciplinarians, like you said, or what have you, besides Rose for the students and Effie for Rose. Effie doesn't ever interact with anybody except at the very end. The chain of command here is really strange when you think about it.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like there's not really a chain of command. Uh, but I mean, we didn't.
I mean, the chain of command essentially amounts to who tortures who.
Yes, yeah, but yeah, like we apparently know that Rose is a, on the high, one of the higher ups, right?
We know
On
she's
the
a warden of some kind. That's exact. Those are the
Yes,
exact words
she's
given to
like
her. Yeah.
a. Let's say that there are 6 levels. I don't know. Apparently, she's like a level 4 or 5, and
We
Jenny
don't
just got
know.
there, so she's A1. And I don't know which level Abby is. But yeah, there's no chain of command. There's like, like I said, all those girls who like, I'll get hanging wedges in the hall. Uh, who puts them there? Who takes them out? Who says you'll be
Yep.
there for how long?
Yep.
And how all those systems, right? And yeah, that's not specified. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that the whole school it really had to have more life. I do.
Hmm. Now, I am amazed that Rose's room isn't locked. Jenny is just inside it at the start of chapter 20, so she was clearly able to walk right in. There are supposedly cameras everywhere, but Rose seems to be the only person paranoid of them. Most likely because she's the only character playing a character, so to speak, instead of being her true self. She's the only one. I mean, I guess Abby is kind of a double agent as well, so maybe that point doesn't mean anything, but who knows?
Yes,
Trying to
and
give the story credit wherever I can.
I mean, bro, I mean, all those cameras that Effie uses. I mean, bro, Effie, she does not do anything, bro. She
Yeah,
just keeps watching and she does nothing. Like, why
she
so?
abuses Rose. That's a
Yes, but Rose goes towards her. Like, of course, she calls Rose to go, apparently. But Rose goes towards her and she tortures Rose, like, in her room, like, you know. But Effie has cameras everywhere. But she's a procrastinator, like a villain procrastinator. She just watches things happen. She does not try to stop them at all. She does not take action at all.
maybe
She
she's a
does not
lawyer.
send she does not send people to take action for her too. You know?
Yeah.
And so I can't understand how this
Well,
girl built this empire. I don't get it. I
that's
don't get it.
that's not entirely true. The part where the scene where Rose injects Jenny with something, I guess some kind of tranquilizer or something,
Yeah, yeah.
and Rose and Effie are clearly executing some kind of plan, and Effie is she's making sure that the plan is successful. So I think there's at least one moment where Effie does send Rose out at least to clean up a mess or something.
Yeah, I remember that part, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and maybe it's because he was. I mean, maybe it not gave me, like I say, since Effie's biggest thief, like biggest thug. is someone that's a double agent in the end. I think that those kind of scenes they kind of throw me out a little bit in the term of thinking that F is in control.
Mhm.
I think that's the thing. Like sometimes when a big boss sends a thug, that's like a loyal thug. So yeah. If it it could use and it won't make a lot of sense. If had a loyal thug, someone that benefited from her, you know, from having money, from she somehow enjoys her Sadie's job, things like that, and that would be nice. So, but yeah, Rose obeys her, of course, but we know she's a double agent, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's
Yeah, we know she's a double agent way too early on, in my opinion. That's my problem. I do love the juxtaposition of Blighty describing Rose's immaculate room and having Jenny look in the mirror immediately after. I think this is another instance of very intelligent writing. In the bowels of this school, at the very heart of it, there is neatness and order, while Jenny clearly doesn't fit into the school, which is displayed by her being very messy and dirty due to being here and the things she's been put through. It's also a great showing of the contrast between the appearance the school puts out and what's truly lurking behind closed doors. This is how you do indirect detail. You write only what's actually happening in the story, what the characters say and think, how they move, describing the surroundings, that sort of thing. Physical things that you can actually visualize and picture in your mind. Don't tell me, for example, a character leaning on a pole means they're feeling distraught, or they're leaning on that pole because they had a terrible day and the mental strain of life is getting to them. Just tell me
yeah,
what I
yeah.
need to know to visualize what's physically going on in the world and leave the
Yes,
rest
yes,
up to me.
yes. I think it's nice to separate, like make characters do what they are doing in the moment, and if you want to like I don't know, oh she's hugging her teddy bear because she's lonely, make her hug the teddy bear and make her think about, oh, I'm so lonely, yeah, things like that.
I think it could be even better as like she goes to hug the bear after she just witnessed her parents fighting. You don't even mention that she's lonely. That that's you just see the girl going to her bear first thing before anybody else, and okay, she's clearly used to doing that if that's her first reaction. So she must be lonely because she doesn't have any friends, she doesn't have she doesn't have anybody to deal with this.
Hmm. Yes, yes, yes. This is the kind of description that I think is okay, and I like,
Mhm.
in indirect details, let's say, make her go hug her teddy bear, make the others think about it, oh, she's I don't know, a good woman, hugging her teddy bear, and then you like now it's time to, she's hugging her teddy bear. So what's next? She's gonna think about something. She's gonna think about her friends. She's gonna say, "Oh, I miss my friends." She's gonna cry because of her parents are doing. So that's all action, That's
Mhm.
all things that she's doing. I agree with that. Now, if you make her hug the bear and spend some time talking to the audience, like you are talking to the audience. Oh, she's hugging the bear because she's so emotional strong. She has no friends around. And that's not coming from her, And yeah, I don't know. It's a little weird.
Yeah. But he does that very well with that when Jenny first gets into Rose's room. He captures that indirect detail extremely well.
Bro,
It's something that so many
it,
writers struggle with. I
bro,
there's
is
so many
there
writers don't leave room for me to be intelligent. So I've been detracting from the rose twist with so many of my notes, but now that we've arrived at this point in the story, I'll make it abundantly clear my feeling on it. I think it is nonsensical and comes completely out of left field. Everything we see for Rose in terms of characterization and development means there isn't any room for this to happen. Maybe if Rose hadn't been given backstory for the sake of her having a backstory, I could have gotten on board with the twist to some degree. But it's not like she's telling Jenny or anybody else that she wanted to trade wedgies with other people or any other detail that comes up in her memories. She's just thinking about her past. And there's nobody for her to lie to in those moments or pretend to be something she isn't or not be something she is. I remember not really caring for the twist back when I first read it, and now it legitimately doesn't make any sense to me 5 years later. If she really is an undercover cop, wouldn't the tree full of ripped underwear be a massive fucking neon sign screaming, "Investigate me! Something terrible and illegal is happening here!" And evidence enough for an overt investigation with a search warrant and whatnot. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Should not I don't think it there was not enough build up, and too many of the details don't line up for it to make sense. I refuse to believe that a wedgie could be as painful as twisting somebody's nipples as hard as you can. Try doing that to yourself, and you'll know it fucking hurts. It's so much more painful than a wedgie, especially if the underwear is big. Uh, some time ago, I watched Burn Notice, a TV show about a spy who essentially becomes locked out of all of his assets in spy network. And the way Rose describes maintaining her cover sounds quite a bit like how that show describes it. I definitely recommend checking out Burn Notice if you haven't seen it before. The way Rose describes maintaining her cover sounds quite a bit like how that show describes it. It's very good stuff. Um,
Oh,
Jenny
you mean Bones?
no. Burn Notice. It's a TV show.
Bahrain,
Burn
no,
Notice.
I don't know that one.
Great show. About a spy who essentially becomes locked out of all his assets, and
Mm,
the spy network, he's burned.
nice, nice.
So, and yeah, it's a spy show. It's very, very good. Um, Jenny resolving to help Rose discover the contracts and blackmail feels like it's setting up at least another 20 chapters, if not way more, since the first 20 were just the first day and a half. And the fact that it's yet another plot thread that goes nowhere is disheartening. It's like Blighty was stacking up plot threads that would go nowhere at the same time he was piling on the suspense and intrigue. Abby's dialogue in chapter 22 is a little unbearable to me. She's a really good example of how a lot of comedy writing in America for some time now has been overly self aware, and it's not a style of dialogue that appeals to me at all. It's the same kind of dialogue that would have a character say, "Well, that just happened," as a joke when something happens. Quote, "I blame hormones, even though actually it's just because I'm a massive bitch," is the line that really got to me here. It's, ugh, just get it out of here. It's way too self aware. It's kind of funny looking at how condensed the lines were initially. And now by chapter 22, almost every line is its own paragraph, and neither extreme is all that great. Having a mix of lengthy and brief paragraphs helps control the flow of reading in a very subtle way. If you only have one or the other and you're painting in the same brush the entire time, your story starts to read extremely similarly. There are multiple times where Blighty basically tells us, the audience, to remember things by saying something like, "Jenny made a mental note of this thing," or "Jenny would have to remember that thing." And it's not the worst way of guiding your readers to experience the story the way you intended it, but it's also far from elegant or subtle. Like Abby explaining the reasons for why the school has no teachers at the very beginning. It's just kind of obvious that that's what's happening. These things are being explained for the aid of the reader as opposed to it really making sense to for things to be explained this way in story. There are two lines in chapter 22 that make me frustrated and then delighted in equal measure. Quote, "Jenny had wondered if she might see any of the girls who were previously hanging around the walls, but they were nowhere to be seen. This only served to highlight the horror of the hooks as they gleamed under the bright light. The first sentence has the repetition of the word see, and it's always jarring and awkward to see the same word repeated in quick succession, as I just did. But then the second sentence has fantastic alliteration with highlight the horror of the hooks. I really like that. It's just another line that really grabbed me, and I wanted to bring it up. But there is another really strange run on sentence with Jenny's stomach began turning as she realized the true extent of what Rose had promised the previous day about her being the alpha was entirely accurate. It should have ended at the word day, but then it keeps going beyond two more points it could have stopped at about her being the alpha and was entirely accurate. It's just a very strange sentence to read, especially when you hear it out loud, which is why it's so important to read your work out loud so you can hear if it makes sense or not. You reveal so many things that you wouldn't pick up on if you were just reading it in your mind. Now, going off that repetition that I brought up just a bit ago, Blighty had a few phrases that he kept repeating, like cards on the table, which he used 3 times, and chilled the blood, which he used 4 times. I don't know if you noticed that, John. Repetition of words and phrases when they're spaced out can actually be a good writing practice to draw subtle emphasis to things the writer wants to highlight as important. Compared to the line of dialogue with see and seen in the same sentence, this is fantastic.
Oh, the see and saying scene, right? I think I remember that.
Yeah, that line, the
Yeah, I do from the top of my head. I do. Yes, and
mhm.
it's part of the this wordplay that he did. I think they're really great, really, really
I
great.
didn't like no the line that has the word repeating in it, I don't like, but the one after it I really like. But the where he keeps using the same phrases, cards on the table and chilled the blood. He repeats them sparsely throughout the story, and I think that's a great way to emphasize specific things. It's a good tactic to use. I think it's the proper way to do repetition in the story. Um, Now, I completely forgot about the almost messy wedgie in chapter 22, and every single time I see one in a story or in a picture or whatever, it brings out this visceral feeling in me, not too far off from seeing underage characters. How do you
What?
feel about them? Like they're just so disgusting. I don't want any part of them. Like, how do you feel any certain way about messy wedgies?
Messi wedgies, bro. Not a fan. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, depends of the. I think it depends of the Messi wedgie. You know,
Hmm.
if it's like something with I don't know cream, for example. Not my fetish. I don't like. But I don't know. Does not. I mean, disgust me. I don't like to use this word. Sorry. It's and does not disgust me. Uh, just for lack of a better word.
Hmm.
But but yeah. I mean, I don't care too much. No, I don't.
Do you remember that scene in
I, I,
chapter
I,
22 though?
maybe there's something about me is that I understand that like we are in a fetish, road of stories, you know. So if I'm reading something that I don't like, I just kind of skip a little bit, like I see, oh, okay, let me skip some roads, you know.
Mhm.
Uh, Let me skip that scenario, a little bit. Let me try to go to the next part that
Yeah,
does not mention that. And I respect, different fetish, so it's okay. Just a little bit uncomfortable,
yeah.
But for me,
Yeah.
it's fine. I don't really mind.
Hmm. Yeah, ugh, cannot stand him. It's also do you remember that scene in chapter 22 where Rose dumps a bunch of food in her pants?
I think I do. I think I do.
It's so weird to me that all the characters involved in that scene take it so seriously. Like she just whipped Jenny or something seriously harmful when all she did was dump some food in her pants. So much for Rose going easy on her. It's not exactly the end of the world here. A single shower will take care of that, no problem. I
Yeah.
don't under they make such a big deal out of it when nothing actually happened.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that Rose she has done something to that. That's why I don't get Jenny, you know, being so angry at her. I mean,
Yeah.
Rose has done everything on others, and Jenny knows it, you know.
Mm,
And and I mean, if Jenny had a problem with that, I think that she should have taken action before, you know.
mm-hmm.
I'm like in the beginning, she even mentions that she could fight back, but she's not gonna do that because she's trying to see the bigger picture, you know.
Yeah.
So she, what I got from that is that okay, she acknowledges that she needs to go through that, and
Hmm.
and yeah, Rose does not like goes over the top. She does not inflict like something really weird, you know, or something like that. Yeah. You know, my theory is that maybe she's like, maybe she had the same reaction as you know. So she's like, she's angry because of that. She also hates messy wedges, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that, bro.
I don't know. Either way, I'm never a fan of seeing them. But anyway, chapter 23 starts with some more great alliteration. A torrent of tears flooded her face as she hung her head. Great line. Really well written. Really well put together. Love it. I remember seeing that chapter 23 would be the last one and being extremely surprised since there was still so much to resolve. And even today, I don't think it's possible to wrap everything up that was presented in a satisfying way with that short of time, unless the chapter was the same length as the rest of the story put together. It way too rushed. The ending was just it happened without resolving anything that the readers wanted to know. Jenny takes a bunch of evidence of underwear as evidence, but I don't. What exactly will having a bag of panties prove to anybody who doesn't already know what's going on in the school? Okay, she's got a duffel bag stuffed full of underwear. What does that prove? Nothing. Doesn't mean anything. Like the father plot point. Um, but overall, I think the last chapter is a real step back in writing because of the density of ideas present. And I'm left with so many questions that really need answering. Why don't we actually see the training that Rose put through Jenny? What purpose does it serve to start with showing us Rose in a hanging wedgie completely defeated? Why don't we get to see Jenny enacting her plan and telling Abby about the text she'll be sending? When did Jenny and Abby even swap phone numbers? In chapter 14, as I said, Jenny randomly has a phone, which is weird enough in itself, since she could just call 911 and get help. I don't get why she needs to escape to do that, but it's also weird since Rose gives Jenny a phone 7 chapters later in 21. Why not just use Jenny's phone? Why does Rose even give her the phone? Why does Jenny even still have a phone on her? Abby having a phone retroactively does make sense when you get to the end, but why doesn't Jenny question her having it? Why does Effie let Jenny run right past her without doing a thing? Now, for the to really just dig into this Abby twist, I've been talking about it a lot, but this is I'm just gonna lay it all out here. I outright laughed when I got to the Abby twist. I knew it was gonna happen ahead of time because I read the story as it was being released, but I forgot how anticlimactic it is and how quickly it's written off. This is the entire twist. Quote, Jenny saw the foot a split second too late as she rounded a corner and crashed to the floor. I'm afraid I can't let you go. Not that easily, said Abby. What? I as trying to help you. Help all the girls in this godforsaken place. Very noble of you it was too. But then that was the whole idea. You see, Effie doesn't run this place. I do. She left a pause, triumphant. Jenny was nonplussed. Great. But do you know what? Abby narrowed her eyes. What? Jenny put all her power behind the punch, just as she had been taught. It caught Abby in the temple. She swayed on the spot as though searching for a riposte that would never come. I hope everyone else can hear how ridiculous this is. I don't think I hammered it home hard enough in that first podcast. A character who, up to this point, has only been mildly relevant is now revealed as the big bad and Jenny's reaction is immediate nonchalance and then punching her in the head, and that's it. "Oh, you're the big
Oh
bad?
yeah, bro.
Great."
Yeah.
Abby being in charge means absolutely nothing to the narrative or the characters or the setting or anything that the audience cares about. It serves
and
no
it
purpose and accomplishes nothing, and I don't think I'll ever understand why Blighty decided to go this route. If he
yeah
really wanted to do a twist with Abby, he should have kept her as the double agent she was hinted at being.
that's the thing, bro. It does nothing. You know, it's like I don't know someone right now, like right now, takes the state of America. You know, he does like he becomes the president. You know, he kills Trump and he's the president. He just overthrew the state and he dies 5 seconds later. You know,
Mm,
like nothing happens. It's so weird, man. It's so weird. Like and comes off of nowhere. Yeah, makes no sense. She's
mhm.
running the team. Like, what the hell?
Bullshit she is. She's not fucking running shit. Everything in the story completely contradicts this. It's one of honestly, it's one of the worst twists I've ever seen in the
I mean,
story.
I don't
Because it
get
comes
too.
completely out of nowhere.
I don't get how easily Effie Effie loses. You know.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, okay, Jenny is good at karate. Okay,
But is
but
is
I
any
mean,
part of karate punching?
I mean, if she was that vulnerable, a good villain would not, try to go face to face with another person, no?
No way. No way.
Yes. Well, like most villains that are like Effie, like, supposedly intelligent, they run things, and they don't go face to face. They have people to do that to them, like, I don't know, Gus Fring from Breaking Bad, Um I was gonna quote Star Wars, but Palpatine, he's good at going face to face, right?
Hmm.
I mean, I don't remember. Like in the
Yeah.
beginning, I think yes, he is good face to face, right? I
Well,
think
yeah,
he's
'cause
not he's
initially
not
he
as
ended up
strong
playing double
as Darth
agent.
Vader, right? He's not as strong as Darth Vader, but he is good face to face. But yeah, those people they manipulate people, they if they go face to face because they can stand, they withstand it, they can fight. And Effie showed that she can fight by how she dominated Rose. But here, it's like super easy, right? There's no fight. There's not even a fight, you know?
It's so
Like,
anticlimactic.
for example, I try, I'm sorry, I try not to use Mahara, but I try to
Me
use other
too.
shows. But I don't know, like, all the other shows that we have talked about. But, like, chapter 12 of Anna Mahara, for example, like, when Anya was taking down Sophie, right? I made that be the whole chapter, they fight,
Yeah.
the whole drama about it, the whole fight, like just the physical part of the fight. And I wrote, I tried to make it plausible. I tried to make it exciting. I tried to make it be something. And and yeah, here it's just like she's just she's just defeated someone, like it has as much importance as like a random villain, like just like it's like Spider-Man when he's beating those thugs, like that he beats like in 5 seconds. It's the same thing that happened here.
Yeah. Yep. That is. Ugh. It just doesn't make any sense. And it the end to the ridiculousness of this twist doesn't end there. Effie doesn't even seem to be aware of this ridiculous twist, since she outright states she, quote, started this place from the ground up right after Jenny punches Abby. Immediately after Abby reveals herself to be the big bad, Effie says she started this place from the ground up.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, but what the fuck, man.
Everything in the story just completely contradicts and cuts at the knees this twist even existing at all. It just didn't. It is a mistake. It was a mistake. He should not have written it like this. It's a product of everything being squished together, everything trying to be revolved into one final chapter where it should have been. It should have just kept going for a while. It needed so much more.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I don't know. I don't know when it should end, but I think it was I think it was a bad end. Yeah,
it
I
was
think
not
it
a good
was
ending.
more about how it conducted the story. You know
Yeah.
how Effie need to be more in it. You know, Effie need
Mm.
to appear more. And
But later on in the story, no, don't bring her in immediately.
yeah, yeah, yes. I mean, she had to be present. You know, for a while, right?
She could be
Before,
mentioned in the background. We know of her. We don't see her.
yes, exactly, exactly.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, yeah, because sometimes the final villain, he's also the ongoing villain. He appears in the beginning and the fight goes on for a while. Like
Yeah.
multiple fights, multiple skirmishes, right? And this maybe could be the case, I don't know. But I think that she needs to be present. I think that's the more important thing. She needs to be present. She needs um, to be the villain. She needs to make people think about her and have problems with her. Maybe like her. Villains are likable too in some ways. But yeah, she needs to be present. She needs to make people feel things. And she does not do that. So yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. But yeah, that's how I feel about the Abby twist. I can't. There's nothing else for me to say about it. The ending, though, leaves me completely baffled. The actual ending of chapter 23. Jenny has just escaped to captivity, and the only thing she'll be trying to figure out is how to get to Atlanta to meet up with Rose at a fucking Doctor Who convention. Not what's going on with her dad, why he put her in the school, making sure justice is served for the other girls in that scenario, so many other plot threads besides that are just completely ignored and for no reason. I was being generous in the first episode of this podcast when I said the ending could have been a 2 out of 9. Normally, I would praise the story for even having an ending, given the nature of Lucky Fetish and how many the vast majority of stories do not have endings. But it might as well not have had one for how abrupt and unsatisfying it is. It's not. Is it really an ending? I don't think so. Where is her dad? Where is her dad? Where is her dad?
Yeah, I mean, I think a problem too is you don't have the journey of the hero too, right? Because I don't feel
Not at
like
all.
Jenny became a better person. She realized more things.
Mm-hmm.
I think that she found maybe a new friend because take Rose to a she wants to take Rose to a Doctor Who convention, right? And
Yeah.
she does mention that in chapter one that she wants friends that does not care about her money. All right, so I think that is on the right direction, but I feel like she just defeated, a whole weed porn cartel. I don't know, and she's the same person. You know,
Mm-hmm.
she may just make a new friend, but that does not mean that she's now that she evolved, that she dealt with her issues, that how did this whole thing change her for the better or for the worse?
Yeah.
How it changed her? How did she change overall? Uh, so yeah, I think that was in the right direction. She apparently she's going to have a new friend who does not care about her money, and she'll take her to a Doctor Who convention. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's just her meeting someone randomly, and that's not her learning things from the journey, right? Like the journey didn't look like it mattered to her, right?
Mhm.
And she met a friend, but she didn't that she met her friend in the journey, but the journey had no effect on her apparently. No, and yeah,
Mhm.
a lot of things that are not answered, like you said, like the father thing, things like that. But yeah, I also think that she feels like the same person as in chapter one, completely.
Yeah. It's really hard to avoid the feeling of my time having been wasted reading it because that's the ending is just it doesn't mean anything. Yeah, it's such a non-ending. Very disappointing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, that is my those are my exhaustive thoughts. I have gotten to the end of my notes finally. So I'd be surprised if there is, but is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
I mean, about the story,
About this story, yes. Let's just keep
let,
it to
let
this
me
story.
yeah, let me check the notes. I mean, because
Okay.
you're there. No, I think I have said anything that I wanted. I mean, I would be kind of repeating myself too,
Yeah.
but I'll just like to as a final note, you know, I like the story. I think that, like I said, it's very unique, and I think it has a lot of positives. I think that he writes dialogue well because I see some people write dialogue and sorry, it's like they never spoke to a human person before. It
Absolutely.
will like not believable at all.
Mhm.
So many mentions of like random mentions of wedges and things like that.
Yeah.
And mentioning wedges is always good, but it's like very badly putting. And yeah, I don't think that's the case. I think that he is able to write believable dialogue and interesting dialogue with like um, good dialogue. It makes you engage with it because you don't know what the other person is going to reply. And yeah, it is unique. It is you see people talking, you're interested by it. It has good valley scenes too, like something that a scene that I really liked was the because a lot of action shows they have the moment where two people are pointing guns at each other, right? Like who's going to shoot? This one has like a wedge version of two people pointing the guns at each other, which is like uh, one is about to give the girl a titty twist, and the other is like giving her a front wedgie,
Hmm.
and they are like, "You let it go, I let it go too, and you can talk." Just like in an action movie, right? Like you take your gun down, I take mine, and we'll forget or we'll talk. I really like that scene. I think it makes a lot of sense. It's really good and really creative. And a lot of good things, man. A lot of good things.
Mhm.
And I think that story that really is good. And like the writer, I think he's really good. Some things I think that he made a lot of things like wrong. Um,
Yeah.
especially in the beginning, especially. But I mean, it's also I think it's also those kind of things come with experience too. It's someone that probably has never written a web story before, right?
Mhm.
So those things come with experience, and I think that
Absolutely.
he did a nice job. I really like the story. There are some web stories that I really and I'm like, bro, I wasted my time. And this is definitely not one of them. I really like the
Mhm.
story.
Yeah, see, it's the thing. If it wasn't for the ending, it would I would really recommend it. It's overall it is a very enjoyable story. It is very flawed, absolutely, but there's definitely a lot to enjoy. The bones are very good. It's just a shame that he kind of lost focus on those bones at the very end. But yeah, that's all I had to say about it. Is there anything that you'd like to promote?
Like to promote? I don't
Yeah.
know, bro. I mean, I have it on my heart,
Yes, of
but
course.
yeah, it's there. It's there.
Yeah, definitely
don't
check out
have
Anno Manhattan. Read all the
don't have
chapters.
to.
Read them again if you already have. Very much a modern gem.
Yeah, yeah, bro. It's in 20 years. It's gonna end. It's a great story.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, but
20
that's the thing.
years
You are
to.
allowing. That's why it's taking so long because you're allowing the ideas, the space they need to happen in the story, unlike what Blighty did in the end and what he had to learn to do. Yeah, let's just close it out here
Oh,
because it's
yeah,
already been
better,
long
better.
enough for sure. Well,
Yeah, has been long
I'm
enough and microphone
anyway,
problems. So yeah,
this was a
uh,
fantastic conversation. I'm so happy to finally have been able to go back and redo this conversation, how it should have happened so long ago. Thank you for coming on, John, and having this conversation with me.
nice, nice, bro. Thanks for having me here, man. Me and
Absolutely.
my amazing English. Thank you, bro.
It's definitely good enough to understand you. That's all that matters.
Oh, it's
I'm
not,
definitely
but
gonna have
thanks.
you back on. Oh, get out of here. I good enough to have a 3 fucking hour long conversation with you and no trouble.
But you
Nice to
did not
try.
understand half of it.
So yeah, I definitely gonna have you back on. Definitely not going to be more 3 hour long podcast. That's too long. Nobody has time to listen to that. But thank you all for listening. Whoever's willing to listen to this long of a podcast about a fetish story on a tiny forum website. And I will see you on the next episode of the Best Book Club.